Hello, awesome coaches. Can you take just a breath? So excited it's Friday. I love Friday, love Friday, love my weekend, not just because I literally feel like week is exhausting, but I just love that space, that time that I have on the weekend to be able to be creative, to take some chillax time, and then to set aside time always to really plan my week. And Saturday and Sunday are like my favorite time to do that. I'll get like my favorite drink, whether it's like coffee with some coconut milk and NCT oil, or maybe even some Organifi, like put into my coffee, or I'll make like a yummy Organifi, like coconut milk. Saturday and Sunday is the time that I plan the whole week. It's when I get into the creative flow. It's when I tap into my ideal client. And it's also the time that I will look at different magazines and even see what are some trending topics. Then I will go to Mind Body Green, Thrive Journal, and I'll do a little research, market research, to see what is trending and how can I either relate that to my ideal client? How can I talk about like, hey, I see this, common approach now, to weight loss, and this is what people are talking about, or I see this approach to hormones, or did you hear this about gut? But then of course I will sit there and say, how can I take a piece of content that I have and make it so I have these high converting newsletters? And so what we're going to dive into today is, of course, how you can very easily take a newsletter, edit it, plan it out, think about either the free gift that you are going to give your newsletter, maybe then the videos that you can plan to really make your newsletters those ones that people want to open because they know that there's like such value. And then also how to take that same newsletter and even turn it into a blog. So I do believe that you guys have downloaded the starter kit. I want to show you. I'm going to share my screen because these have 4 free newsletters and start here page. 4 free newsletters. And I'm also going to just show you how I try to make it really easy. Start here. Hold on, guys. I think I would have had this up. Okay. I'm going to show you how I make it really easy, because for those of you who get overwhelmed, the moment that you start going into what I call the doing phase, I'm going to show you how easy I keep it. So if I were to say that I'm going to theme my February, I could right away with one guide. This is why in my membership, we have like a guide, a workshop, 4 blogs, so that you can really theme your month. And so if I were to say, what am I going to, of course, speak to my ideal client about, let's just say for the purpose of this one, then I'm going to talk to them about kicking the sugar habit. So right away, I'm going to say with my email list, if I'm going to talk about sugar and like getting off sugar, keeping to your New Year's goals, then I'm going to give my newsletter this. So I'm going to actually write down, because we talked about how do you actually plan your week. I'm going to write down and say, boom, I got to go through this on my Saturday because I'm going to send this to my list as a gift. I'm going to say, I know you already opted in. I'm so happy that you're on my list. This is what you can expect from me over the next month. One, by doing that, you're going to let people know, like, I better open up this person's email because, wow, I have these recipes that I can, implement into my life. And you can actually give this to your list. And then you could make some very simple videos on what are the foods that can like help you not eat sugar? What are maybe some signs of sugar imbalance? How can you supplement, with maybe some very basic supplements to help you balance blood sugar? So I know that to my list, the gift freebie For those of you who are in our membership and you have like recipes, maybe you want to gift because you're in a list building in February. You want to gift thinking about Valentine's Day. You want to say like, hey guys, this is the month where I am giving to you. You can expect jam-packed, newsletters each week with recipes and with videos to help you save time. For those of you who don't have time to cook, you hate prepping, you hate cooking, I'm going to show you how easy it is to transform your life, because too often my clients experience problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, and that's why we are taking time to address it this month. So already knowing, what am I giving my newsletter people? I'm not going to have them sign up. They're already there. I don't want them to feel like they have to work and like click a button. I want to teach them that click, when you are going to click and say, join now, I'm going to train them that means you're coming to a paid opportunity. Or maybe you're coming to a webinar. There's a high converting webinar to a paid opportunity. Or maybe, of course, to a challenge, but not if I'm gifting my list. Of course, then I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull down my newsletters. So let me just see which one I'm going to pull. 3 salads. Perfect. This is exactly, maybe I'm going to pull 3 ways to de-bloat, download. And then I'm going to pull this baby over, because I'll tell you, the reason I love to use Google Drive, I think it's absolutely one of the higher ups, amazing tools that we are so fortunate to have. I can go right here to stay organized, because we're really talking about keeping on track. What I personally do is create a folder. So I can create, I'm just going to call this test 2021 content for Rachel's Wellness. We're going to use my old business name. And I'm going to write here, and I'm actually going to come and say February 2021. For those of you who like to do this in Dropbox, personally, I do them kind of in both places. I like to do a lot of the planning and the rearranging in Google, because it's just much easier. But I will often have a Dropbox that says Rachel Feldman's online business, and be able to have blogs in there, freebies, stuff really organized, so that I can stay consistent, and also with a cohesion with my ideal client. Too often we bring people onto our newsletter list from a freebie, and we start talking to them about a bunch of different things instead of keeping it really clear, like, this is my niche. These are the areas I've polarized down, speaking about, which are your core pillars, so that your ideal client knows what to expect. If you use this for sugar, make sure that you relate it to your niche. If I'm just talking sugar and I've been talking mindset to my clients, but I'm not helping them to see that I specialize in helping CEOs make more money by changing and rewiring their mindset. If all of a sudden I start talking about sugar, they're like, wait, she's been talking about like boundaries and saying no, and she's been talking about rewiring old stories and narratives. Why are we talking about sugar? You want to think of your newsletter list as the client journey. People, of course, are going to come into your newsletter list at all different stages, but you want to make sure that, unless you're doing, we'll just say like a tag-based system leading them to one indoctrination series, most of us, myself included, made sure that I was sending 4 newsletters a week. But I always would think, what do I need people to know this month? And most importantly, my goal for that newsletter. So if you are going to talk about sugar, start teasing that in. Say, guys, last month we talked about, because remember, you're taking people through a journey. It's just like when somebody comes into a free offer at whatever either paid or organic source, they are on your newsletter list and they want to get more of what they just opted into. That's why we start to really define. We test with a lot of freebies. We test, of course, by doing polls. We have our fingers constantly on the tap of our ideal client. But we want to make sure that we really are taking them through this cohesive story. And those stories really relate to our 3 signature offers that we know just close it down. Those 3 signature offers are the mini solutions, those 3 signature freebies. Mini solution in the same way, your 3 signature workshops, which are your pitch opportunities, templates that you can read from while you're doing audios, podcasts, Clubhouse, etc. And they really mirror your offers. So same thing with your newsletter. You want to expand on what is working and then deeper nourish. So I would go in and we're going to put, to make it also easy, if you're working with team members or you're at the infancy of, building a good structure for yourself so that you can actually keep it up. I'm going to say newsletters. Each one of our brains work different. So if your brain works great to have what I call like a hub, I will actually say theme of the month, goals, list building, or then I'm going to say paid offers, so that I actually know what am I doing that month. And when I mean, you might be saying, well, we're always list building. We are, but sometimes we have list building for specific reasons. List building for awareness and testing, list building to go to a paid offer. So for this month, I'm not going to focus on like a challenge or a webinar. I'm going to shower them with gifts after gifts, warm them up, because I like to always put in one place, February, March. I like to know what my goals are, because in March, I'm going to have a 3-week bikini jumpstart program. Or if you're doing it in April, you'll start to see, where do I need to have my list building efforts, and like, what's kind of my plan? What are the offers I'm leading them to? For February, my goal is to get one-on-one discovery calls, to lead to build buzz for March. If, of course, you weren't doing a 3-week bikini and you were opening doors for your membership, then you can start to actually look at your newsletters and your blogs intentionally and strategically versus just putting content out there. Because that in March, that you're going to you're going to really be focusing on like the pain and problems, leading them, of course, to, come for open doors. So this probably will be like a webinar month, webinar or challenge or on demand. So that you always know, like, what am I doing? February, my goal is list building, and I may throw in a low-cost offer post Valentine's, a 2-for-1. And I could take any 7-day program, 7-day, 14-day, 21-day, and I'm just going to write down my goal. This would be at a 47 times 10 people, 470, and clearly we can go and figure out the different numbers. But when I start to actually plan, like, what am I going to do? It makes it much easier to then look at my weeks. This is going to be February. I'm going to send my newsletters. Guys, I always say, do your own research and do your own testing to see what days are the best for your clients to open up their emails, what times, what are their behaviors, their demographics. It will also help you to have better conversions. So I'm going to say that February 1st, then February 8th, February 15th, February 22nd. And all of a sudden I'm going to know my newsletter is with a act now 2 for 1. And then all of a sudden I can start to use the newsletters that I actually have either in one of our packages or this one that you kind of saw. And then I can say this one's going to be sugar and stress and adrenal burnout. I'm of course going to go and see which one works the best. 3 ways to bloat, 3 ways to de-bloat. I'm going to actually pull right there, pull here, copy and paste, so that I can see the whole progression. That means that I'm really thinking of the person who comes into my newsletter list, you know, and is brand new. I'm also thinking about the person who's already on that list, maybe a person who's been, you know, watching or maybe they attended, you know, a challenge that I had, or maybe, you know, they found me because I had something, you know, posted on Pinterest, but they're in my list. And I want to make sure that each week I'm feeding to these different people who may be at different stages. This person who could be like me, like chronic constitutional adrenal issues, and she's a high-powered CEO. The mom who maybe she doesn't know what's happening yet. She's never heard the word adrenal, but she knows she's like cracked out on sugar. And maybe for the other person who really is having more digestive and autoimmune kind of stuff. Those were some of the big key problems that I knew my clients had. And so when we know what types of problems our ideal client has, and also what type of people do we attract, we can always say, this is my dream client. But the magic really happens and you're able to make money and change lives when you start to understand who is this person and what are the struggles that they're having in their own words. So I am going to, of course, if I put in a higher level word like adrenal, I know in this newsletter that it would make sense for me to do a video on adrenal, stress, and sugar. And I'm going to do just a personal story. We all have a personal story. Very easy. I love to do this because dyslexia. Love to do this because I feel that not only do I feel this, but it's been proven that people will, of course, buy from you, increase the buying potential, the conversion potential, if they hear stories where they can identify. Not every one of your clients is going to be your story, but people identify with us with the stories that we share. This person actually may not have that exact situation, like adrenal burnout for a CEO, but they might sit there and start to think of people in their life, or maybe their significant other that is that kind of person, and they start to marinate in those experiences that they're having. They start to have these memories that come up, or these thoughts, or they start to question themselves. That's how crucial it is for us to share what we call these like little mini micro stories of our life. Because I can do this, copy and paste, 3 ways to de-bloat, but I also want to make sure that my client doesn't just feel that I'm like a book. I mean, if I want to just drop this in, what I can do, of course, no personalization, no editing, and I don't even need to change around the words. I mean, I know that's one of my biggest pain points from having dyslexia. It's just, and also getting nervous sometimes in kind of writing this, like, is it going to be good, to not doubt myself and to say, you know what, even if I don't add anything right here, this personal story, and then I'm going to, of course, say dear. And I want to, of course, write a subject headline. Sometimes I'll even think of a few. Oh, you guys, I'm really bad really bad on the spelling today. So I might even want to think of a few, and I can say, 3 ways to debloat. Then I can also say, I wish I would have known this. That is, it's called a curiosity kills the cat kind of headline, like, oh my goodness. Or open. I lost, open a plan, step-by-step plan for debloating. The reason I say I love the weekends, if you guys were here in the early part of this, is during the week, we're just really, really busy. I had talked on a live that I did just a few days ago, talking about knowing when you are in your greatest creative zone. And so for some of you, it's the morning, it's the night. Figure out when that is, because each one of you are marketers. Even if you feel it's exhausting and it's tiring, you do know what to say to your ideal client. But we only get really good at it when we do it when we're, not exhausted. I could also say open 6 sugar busting recipes. So really play around with what kind of headline would you actually open, and then go and just say bloating dear. You could even say, I am writing this email at 7 in the morning. I just took my Chromium berberine, and drank lemon water with raw apple cider vinegar. Why do I take these supplements? Why do I drink this tonic? You could even add another video. So for those of you who have an easier time explaining, or you love doing like behind my scenes, like show me, that could even be a video of you showing your actual supplements, or how you make your drink, why stats or studies say that drinking raw apple cider vinegar can help to balance blood sugar. You might even want to talk about sugar and the adrenal component and the B vitamins that you're taking, but you want to get them in that first, I call it paragraph, because most people don't even open their emails these days. They're looking at it from the preview, and you have that first paragraph, just like on a Facebook or Instagram post. You have those first 3 to 4 sentences that we see. So I want to personalize this. I want to make it, speak to that person. And I also want to kind of show them that transformation. We don't just show a person transformation by saying, here, join my program on blood sugar mastery, or here, get this 10-day sugar detox. We show them what the problems are, how we're handling the problems, how our life experiences have made us the expert in this. I'm the expert in debloating. I hands down know how my blood sugar imbalances were completely related to my adrenal fatigue and yeast infections and candida. That's just a very little story. I want you to think when you are writing this and you're thinking about, what do I need to say to my person this week? You don't have to spend so much time like going through this and rewriting it. The goal is that you buy content from us. So you copy and paste it, you add in a few key points, and then I'm going to put right here. I am like, grab one of 4 gifts this month. Remember, if I am doing like a gift of this sugar, maybe another one is I'm going to do like, here's some clean eating recipes. So if you were in my membership, I would tell you like, take one recipe guide, break it into like five breakfasts that are really great, 5 clean eating lunches, or 5, lunches that won't get your blood sugar going crazy, 5 dinners. And if I wanted to do on I said my, 4th week where I was giving that offer, then I'm not giving something away to them that would take away from actually leading them to a paid offer. So I'm going to say my theme this month is banish that bloat, reset your New Year's goals, and love yourself silly with putting you first. Now, guys, what I want you to see when you're structuring your week is the other day we talked about what days are you going to make where you are taking, I think I did this in about 10 minutes, where you're taking time, you're going through and you're like, do I need to add anything more here? Do I need to talk about the gift? Do I need to do the video? Am I going to do 1 video in there? Am I going to do 2? You can also, with a newsletter, do this. PS. Like, read about the adrenal and sugar connection on the latest blog. Make that a click to the blog. That means that not only you're seeing where are people clicking, because you get to see a click-through rate. You don't even need a team to be able to go and look at those simple things. 2, we're already thinking, okay, if I'm sending this, then it would be safe to say that I'm leading that person either to, like I said, a program that's on blood sugar, or a program that's on adrenal, or maybe a paid like workshop class, or a paid live Q&A for like $37, and leading them into your one-on-one as the upsell. The cool thing about newsletters is it gives us an opportunity to like really speak down and dirty to our newsletter list. And I think some of the biggest problems that we often have when we are building trust is we don't want to share, like, we don't want our newsletters or our social media posts to be like a diary. What you want to think about in your newsletters is if you have that newsletter that week on, chromium and sugar and stuff, and maybe the week before you just had a lot of stress, you can always go and just change that around to be like, hey, I overate and I did fall prey to like having all this sugar, but this is what I did. And so you can have different kinds of variations in the newsletters with simply even copying and pasting that content right in, and then sitting there and taking more time to actually think, what is the goal? Were there any things that I feel really essential that would help my ideal client hire me over somebody else, and I need to share with them? Did I have a bout with sugar? Was I told, was I told the other day, you have this symptom, and we think this is adrenal fatigue. Like, what has happened in my life that could be of value to my potential client to have them say, this is definitely the person I want to work with. When you have your 4 newsletters planned that month, even if you do it on one sheet like that, so that you really see the big overview, that means that you're really looking at your month, your quarter, your year, and you start to lessen that massive overwhelm of like, what am I going to send out to my newsletter list? What am I going to say? But you know, I'm going to be talking about these core topics. I'm going to give them that freebie. And then next week, maybe I'm going to give them second gift, third gift, and you get people used to opening, especially if you were, doing a bigger push or a bigger open cart in April, and you want to make sure that you have the amount of people on your list that you need, and also the right people. The last part of that is when you think of what day you're doing your newsletter, like we talked about in the live when I showed you my schedule that I made many years ago, you'll be able to then carve out specific time blocks. This, for example, give yourself 30 minutes. I've been talking to you about being able to build your business in 1 hour a day in the morning. You need to say, okay, how long would it take me to copy and paste? How long would it take me to upload that, that freebie? And then how can I also use this same theme in my blog, in my live, in my group? So that if somebody is coming into your newsletter that week, they are seeing this other supporting social media or these other supporting stories, so that you never confuse your ideal client. You're also creating a cohesive plan for yourself. And you know that no matter what, each week on Monday, you're going to send a newsletter out, making it easier for you to plan. And as I said, let go of perfection. The cool thing is that same newsletter can be downloaded, the same video. Maybe not one is like personal to your newsletter, like, hey, here's a message from me, but you can take that guide as the gift and do, as I said, behind the scenes of you buying the ingredients, batching, showing how easy it is to get off sugar, your tricks, your tools, and really be able to share those kind of videos, not only to your newsletter list that you have a little more specific, you have a different tone with because they're already on your list, but then also to be able to bleed out that same strategy everywhere else, so that you don't feel like you are constantly creating different content strategies on all these different platforms, which in the end make it impossible for us to feel like we can actually do it and get it accomplished. So guys, I hope this was helpful. Don't overthink this kind of stuff. I know it can feel like a lot at times. I think it's for anybody, but the faster that you say, what is my February going to be? What am I going to be sending out? And you actually make that rock solid plan, it's going to alleviate some overwhelm. And that is going to be able to give you back the energy so that you can do outreach on one day, that you can join groups, maybe like Toastmasters or groups that you know where your ideal client hangs. You have energy to pitch, you have energy to, do discovery calls, and you won't end up in the big place I talk about, burned out, tired, cranky, sad, and then not really living our truth. And then we feel exhausted. So make sure you write it down. Even if you want to come into our free group and be like, oh my God, this is my plan. Do it to hold yourself accountable. It's just like journaling. We don't have a journaling police that comes around and says you have to journal. We have to hold ourselves accountable to our non-negotiables. So I double dog dare you to come in and say, here's my piece of paper, or here's my Google sheet. Take a picture of it and hold yourself accountable to do it, so that you can open up space for your creative flow and for you to be the coach that you really desire. Happy Friday, guys. Big love. That I showed you are the free newsletters. I would say our signature programs most often have very specific newsletters. We do have a newsletter package. I have a bunch of coaches who love the blog package, and they will, of course, just like you saw, go and personalize it, add a different tone. But still, work your plan your plan so that you don't feel exhausted and then quit on your dream. It's been a pleasure, guys. I will see you later and have a beautiful weekend. Bye, guys.